Hello, everybody. It's Veronica from Human Design Journey, and I have a very special guest today, Mari Smith. Hi.
Hello, greetings. I was going to say good morning, but I know it's evening for you. We're in different parts of the world. Thanks for having me. Nice to be here.
And thanks for coming. And yeah, it's we're recording that we're not live. So hello, good morning, good evening, everybody, wherever you are in the world. This is my project for interviewing people around the globe who are living their design. And I was so interested to present to you Mari. I got to meet her during the organization of the International Human Design Festival, and I'm really in love with her. So I'm very excited to present to you Mari.
Thank you.
She's actually a very special person, but also a highly valued professional. And she's even called the Queen of Facebook. So I wonder, with this professional background of high-end, I would say, business background, how did you even come to human design and what happened? Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, and what's really cool is I love doing human design interviews. And because then I can kind of like weave in aspects of human design like cycles, and it helps my journey make more sense to folks tuning in. And so my Uranus opposition. So I'm at explanation cross of a generator 1-3, sacral generator 1-3 with 10 line ones and a lot of definition up here. And then a unconscious 214 split off, bridging gate one. Totally open everything else. And so my Uranus opposition was the cross of contagion. My natal is explanation, cross of explanation. And so I joined Facebook. A few people had invited me or just, asked me, hey, you want to join this Facebook thing? And that was 2007. I was like, what the heck? I don't need an online network. I'm already, very well networked in person. And this was in San Diego, where I lived for 24 years. Before that, Scotland. Before that, Canada. And I'm now in Oregon, USA. But yeah, it was quite interesting because I look back retroactively. I started my experiment, my actual official, immersion in human design studies and my experiment in winter solstice of 2020. And then so once I started learning about cycles as part of that professional journey of training, I was like, oh my God, I joined Facebook within days. Days. It was May. I joined Facebook May the 4th, Star Wars Day of 2007. It was something like, I think my Uranus, if I remember correctly, was like May 15 or something. So within days, I had this new cross of contagion. And within 3 weeks of joining Facebook, I was so lit up about it. I was like, have you seen this thing? You gotta join I was like the unofficial evangelist. Talk about contagion. I just fell in love with it. I love this ability to reach out and connect with pretty much, anybody in the world that was on the platform and people whose books I read and whose newsletters I was on and conferences I went to and stuff like that. And back in the day, almost 20 years ago now, where people were responding to their DMs, and I'm quarter of bonding. I know I'm a 1-3, but I'm born in quarter of bonding, so that relationship aspect is just so important to me. So, yeah, that's how I suppose we could say is written in the stars. I know we have our genetic imprint, but then how the genes are expressed is so many different possibilities there. But when I look back on it, I was like, oh, then my Chiron was cross of service. I'm in my second Saturn return now. I'll be 60 in August. But second Saturn return was service. No, excuse me. I'm back to explanation. My Chiron is service. And I started to feel after many years of being in my Facebook career, a good 10, 12, 14 years in this Facebook marketing career, teaching people basically how to get business from Facebook and Instagram and some of the other social platforms too. And traveling all over the world, speaking, doing training courses, doing webinars, and so on. Then I just started to feel this like, oh, there's got to be more. There's more to Mari than just Facebook. I didn't quite like this like moniker. It's okay. I don't mind being royalty. But I was like, I can't see myself like always being the queen of Facebook. And when I'm 70 years old, I'm going to be teaching Facebook. No, there's something more. Something more wants to come through. And that's again retroactively, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we've got the cross of service here, wanting to make a bigger difference, wanting to help people to wake up, wanting to have people understand how amazing they are and how incredible life can be when you really living your design. And that's, as I say, winter solstice of 2020, human design just came flying into my life. I'd had a reading way back in 2003. None of it made any sense. All I remember is the analyst said, Mari, you have a really busy mind. It's probably hard for you to meditate. Yeah. Hello, 6447 abstraction. And, but yeah, and it danced in and out of my life. But, I have 6 planets in the 4323, and then I got my unconscious 214. So a lot of individual circuitry there. And as you know, it's about timing. I had to be right in the timing with myself. Everything else has to be right timing. So I just feel that it wasn't correct for me to get involved in human design until I did.
Yeah, that's interesting. And when you met human design, and this something more, what was this something more for you?
Yeah. Well, like I say, I knew I just was not as satisfied with my career. And maybe some people can relate to this. My unconscious South Node is 14.1. Money isn't everything. The delusion that money can, oh, I forget the exact words of the Rave Ching, but it's something about the delusion, like throwing money at things will solve your problems. So back in 2012, so I was in my career for 5 years of the Facebook marketing, 2012 then to 2013. So 5 or 6 years as a leading expert in the world of this Facebook organic marketing, hired by Facebook a few times to travel with them and teach and stuff like that. So, but I had encountered this fellow Scotswoman who was phenomenally accomplished in the business world, and I aspired to hire her as my coach. And she's very expensive. And the time came, I had met her originally, I think in 2008. And so then fast forward 4 years, the timing was right. I had the money. I hired her, and we were probably about 8 months into a 12-month engagement. And I kind of knew again that see third line trial and error, whoopsie daisies, well, that didn't work. What I realized after throwing all this money into coaching with this phenomenal, renowned business leader is she was building a vision for me that wasn't my vision. It's like, she was helping me climb up a ladder that was leaning against the wrong wall. I'm like, I don't want, she's like helping build this massive agency with hundreds of employees and get it to like millions of dollars of value and sell it to a another big agency. I'm like, that's not my journey. I don't want to do it. And it took me immersing myself and being in the experience and trying it out to go, whoa, this is so not for me. And so kept on, just keeping my business modest. And then yeah, there's that's something more. So I've always been in, see, Veronica, I've always been interested since I was a young teen in personal growth and development, personality assessments, behavior, understanding what makes people tick. I really got into the DISC model, Myers-Briggs, a little bit of Enneagram, all these different personality assessments out there. My mind just loves them. My 10-line ones, and we've got the 1762 as well. And yeah, but it was just this magical experience. On winter solstice 2020, we're smack in the middle of COVID. Beautiful, dear, close girlfriend of mine in San Diego. And she's coming over for a little girlfriend's sleepover. And she's like sitting at my kitchen table, Mari, I don't know why, but my intuition told me to bring you this book. Powerful manifesting generator 4/6. She reaches into her purse and she pulls this book out and hands it to me across the table. And talk about sacral response. I still literally tear up when I think about this moment. I'm always so grateful to her. I say to her, you changed my life. You absolutely, from that moment forward, I just knew. It's like, talk about sacral response. My whole body like leapt off the chair, waving my hands in the air, and I'm like, human design. There's books on that. You can study it, and so it's. I think it's great. Human design is great for projectors, as Ra would always say, for be able to learn and to guide others. And I think for it's right for whoever it's right for, as you know, he talks about the 4%. But I think for someone with my particular imprint, having all those line ones, having the detail, being in this bonding, it's like leaning into it so deeply. It's just like the first line is sometimes there's just no end to the depth that you can go to learn something. And so now I've studied some of the business side on the BG5, profit potentials and small group. I started the large group OC16. I've done some of the family practice training, and I've obviously done all the analysts, and I've done the DDP. I'm working on my thesis right now for the differentiation degree program. Actually, I'm in variable teacher training right now to be able to lead the radical transformation clinics, because the health and wellness aspect, oh, that really lights me up, as well as the business, and the families. Like, I want to do it all. I'm going to have like this multi-department, fellowship. I love this idea of having a fellowship and bringing in other consultants and analysts and experts. But I'm not going to fulfill, all the demand or services myself. But yeah, so yeah.
Actually, human design is such a vast system. It really can explain everything from
Yeah.
birth, even before birth, the design of pregnancy we have, and
Yeah.
even if you look at the cosmology courses, explaining the whole world, the cosmos, and the, as we call it, biverse in human design. But
Yeah.
what really lights you up from all of that? You said business, the business aspect, but also the DDP.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thanks for asking. Yeah. Hmm. You know, obviously in my mind, I'm not giving you an instant response. So, but I really want to be able to capitalize on it's over 20 years. It's 20 years, almost 19 and a bit, focused just on social media and Facebook. Before that, I was the internet marketer since 1999. I have the 8.1 is this desired, or this ability to make this honest contribution, and to be good at being a PR, PR person in marketing, and to do so in a way where my 4323 is to be able to just explain and articulate. And I like to break down the complex things into simple. So the profit potential lights me up, and to me, hmm, it's this fusion of the profit potential with the business penthouse C16, with my body of knowledge and experience on marketing. So there's that business application, and feeling into it, feeling cognition. I don't know that it's quite as equal. It's probably a very close second is the DDP, because it's my own personal journey right now. I'm 3 parts left, 1 part right, which is my brain body, my physical brain body. And Ra would say of those particular variables, DLL, PRL, it's like, nope, the other way around. PLL and DRL. Um, you would say the body doesn't stand a chance, because the strategic mind is like, and an open route is like, oh, it's like, come on, cracking the whip and getting this racehorse to just never really like, okay, we better take a break now and rest. And so that's brought with it some, I wouldn't say call them health challenges, but just some aspects. So like bursitis in the hip, I've got this hip issue where it's been uncomfortable to lay on my left side for almost a year. And I've sought out multiple different healers, chiropractors and body workers and acupuncture, and took private Alexander technique lessons, with posture. And I was like, okay, must be posture. And then about 6 weeks ago, I was introduced to a phenomenal healer who's trained in Chinese medicine as well as acupressure, and he's just everything he knows about the organs in the body, and he says like, everything is mechanical, chemical, or emotional. Mechanical, how you use the body; chemical, what you're putting in the body. But most healers ignore the emotional aspect. Well, I got an open solar plexus, And I probably, we all do. I don't think anybody on the planet doesn't have, emotions trapped somewhere in the organs. I really love the work of Gabor Mate. It's wonderful, wonderful man. He does incredible work on trauma release and healing. And so what this new to me healer, he's like, oh, it's your kidneys. I'm like, how is my kidneys? An issue with my kidneys connected to my hip. So now, Miss Investigator, I'm just like fascinated. I'm like, okay, I need to reduce the inflammation in this body. I'm working like cleansing sugar, no sugar intake. I was already eating very healthy, but it's so. And by the way, I'm an external processor. I know that sometimes I'm like a mental projector with a 214. And I don't always know what I'm thinking till I hear myself say it. Like, you ask me a question and give you a long-winded answer. But I think an aspect of the future, Veronica, is those two together. Like, get the vehicle so in alignment, so healthy, so vibrating, living its correct design that it can go out and thrive in the world and make money or survive and thrive in the material world. I know all that's changing big time with the new frequency coming in 27. So to me, it's a beautiful synthesis of those two applications, the business and the health. That's what lights me up. How about you? I would love to know what your favorite application is because you're super skilled.
I am really interested in the cosmology. I like
Mm.
to know. Like you, I have the first line. So I have 11 first lines.
Oh, you
So
got me beat by one. That's right.
for me, kind of digging this system in and out is very
Mm.
important. And to
Mm.
understand how the whole world ticks,
Yeah.
this is what cosmology gave me. But
Oh.
right now, I am finalizing my BG5 certification.
Mhm.
And maybe I should explain to those who don't know what this exactly is. And also, I wanted to ask you the same question about DDP because not everybody on the channel will be. Maybe they're newcomers or very deep in human design, but didn't get to those. So the BG5 is the business application of human design, but it's not only about business, it's about groups. It's about group dynamics. And we're all born in groups, right? We're born in a family. So our first group is our family. Um, Usually we will have the mother, the father, and ourselves. But even if we're with one parent, grew up with one parent, no siblings, still we go to kindergarten, school, university, we work with people, we have friends of people. So we're constantly in groups of people. And this knowledge is like amazing. It gives me so much information to really grasp how things are ticking, and especially something that you cannot put your finger on, this chemical frequency that we have, and when together with other people, it becomes something else, a whole new being, although
Mm.
it's not like living being, but it is living through us.
Yeah.
So I'm really mesmerized by the business application, and being able to then look at the business side and help people in their career and to find what they really love to do,
Yeah.
or how they work with others in partnerships, or even if you're a solo entrepreneur, you also work with clients or with um, people who deliver stuff, or yeah. And to look at the small groups and how, with very small things that can be adjusted or changed, that you can make such a huge difference. It absolutely, um, yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And also, coming from the business world, and that's why I'm also interested to hear from you, coming from the business world, human design, it's at least being perceived by others as more esoteric, while the business application is so down to earth and
Mm,
really practical.
mhm.
Same with human design, but not human design is not for everybody. Not everybody wants to be transformed. People
Right.
want just to have easier lives.
Hmm.
So, yeah, how would you look at the business aspect, comparing, the world before human design and BG5 and after?
Yeah, well, so for about a year now, I've actually been working closely with the International Human Design School and the BG5 Business Institute in a marketing consultancy role, and just supporting them in that regard and making some video content for their social media. And what's really been enlightening to me is a few different conversations with Linda Bonnell, for example, the dean of the school, and really understanding what Ra was putting forward about a seven-centered strategic approach to business, marketing, money, even, versus the nine-centered, more receptive, more, if I could articulate it in a way where it's honoring my authority in a way that honors other people's authority. So applying it to my own business with offering social media courses, it's like marketing can be very pushy and deadline and sign up now. They're commanding and do calls, CTAs, calls to action. So make sure you tell, click here, sign up now, download now, and do this midnight tonight, scarcity, 14.99, or just call it 15 instead of 14.99. That's why all the courses are round numbers. Apparently Ra didn't like this gimmick that we all do with, ending in 97 or 95 or 99. So making your offers a round number. But then crafting your wording is one of the biggest differences to me before and after studying human design in BG5 is crafting the wording on my different sales pages and emails and social posts in a way that is much more, my mind wants to use the word softer, but it's more about, this is what I'm offering. Is this correct for you? Feel into it. Take your time. Would you like to join us? I love how you do that too, Veronica. It's like just asking that yes no question, because two-thirds of the world being generative, they're going to respond. And now I like to, maybe I'll use the word invitation or invite. You're invited. Would you like to join us? And I feel like I'm speaking to projectors and generators, builders and advisors in the same kind of invitation or opportunity for people to join. And it's just a much more freeing way to do business, I feel, that it's not, coercive, it's not manipulative, it's not like all about, never all about me, but like the business tends to be, oh, you know what, this is, my mind just segued, a lot of creators and influencers, certainly in my social media industry or marketing, is people put content, leaders, course creators, take my course and you'll get the same results. Like, here's how to make $1 million. And people are like, oh, okay, great. Here's how to get 1 million followers. Hello, Open Heart Center. Let's prove ourselves to the world, because look how many followers I have. I must be really important. That's, oh my God, it's such a mind game. It's such a not self. But sometimes we have to start there. So this is where sometimes I call it, over the years, even before human design, I would call this approach backdoor spirituality. So backdoor, I mean by that is you're leading with the business. Having people come to learn applications of business so that they can grow their business, they can serve more people, they can make more money. And then they start to get to know you and you're feeling your frequency. Like, what else you got? What else you offer? And now with human design, maybe they want a reading, a personal reading. Maybe they're having an issue with their spouse or their child, and a health body issue. Now they're like, oh, you mentioned a minute ago, Veronica, most people don't want to transform or wake up. And I really feel that's a huge part of why Ra said that human designed only for 4% of the world. And those who are really, really going to go on and truly live their design and become professionals or analysts or whatever is like the 4% of the 4%, I believe that he said. And so I do have this vision though, my gate two, 214 channel is like, I would love to see with this new frequency coming in, and we've been feeling it for the last couple of decades for sure. The sleeping phoenix, this empowered rise of the empowered individual, is that more people might be open to embracing a different way and taking better responsibility of their health and wellness and being correct in their relationships and being correct in their work. Because two-thirds of the world, I wonder what percentage of generators, Veronica, are in jobs that they don't like, that's not satisfying, and that the sacral energy is actually degenerating versus, whoa, what do I want to do with my life force today? I mean, what a world if more builders, more generators were putting that satisfaction frequency out into the planet. So yeah, I don't know if I
Well,
answered your
if
question.
we look around in the world, most people are frustrated. So I think
Yeah.
that says enough. And actually, as I mentioned, I also come from the business world, but also my education is in marketing and PR. And
Yeah.
I remember always we're trying to kind of pin down the decision makers and appeal to their with emotional message, find a message with less noise. And the moment I started to, I met human design and I started to study it, I realized how wrong that is because it's really manipulative and we see it more and more that people are no longer um, it doesn't work for them to wear a mask from 9 to 5 and then be somebody else after 5. And I used to say
Mm.
about myself, I'm one person from 9 to 5, the serious business person managing a team of programmers, developers, and then I would go and be this you crazy person, having fun, and then it's just not working. and
Mm.
and what we see right now in the world, even with social media, you cannot be somebody else because even your employer or your colleagues or your whatever, your parents even,
Hmm.
can just go on social media and see who you are for real. So
Yeah,
you
true.
cannot hide. But it's
Hmm.
not only the outside world. We don't have, I think people don't have anymore um, the energy to be somebody else. And
Mm.
if you look at all these of the social media in general and all these people actually, like I call them the big brother eye,
Yeah.
showing, this is what I eat and that's not what now what I'm gonna do. And 5 minutes later, that like exposing their lives. But
Yeah.
actually, this is what people want to see. They want to see your authentic self, who you really are.
Totally. That's right.
So I think that's like, for me, that's the best thing that human design brings us is this mm, permission to be ourselves. And not that we
Yes.
need somebody's permission, but realizing that it's so bad for us to not be ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, that's so true. What just popped in my head is something segueing to what we were talking a minute ago about the health and wellness aspect. And I believe that Ra didn't care so much for the word like healing because he would say, if you're really living correctly, there's only alignment or misalignment. So when the vehicle starts giving you symptoms and feeling off or suppressing aspects or just basically typically would show up as physical symptoms, that's a signpost. That's the body going, hello, we're not happy. Stop running the show with the head. Get into this vehicle and be correct, be in alignment. And then you're absolutely right. I feel like we would, all four types would be putting more of their signature frequency out into the world versus the not self. And you mentioned about like social media and the authenticity. Oh, someone mentioned this the other day. A new trend is I wasn't familiar with the term, but it's called yapping. Yapping is where all these creators, they just turn the camera on, unscripted, raw, unfiltered, like you're saying, here's what I'm having for breakfast, or here's how I'm feeling today. And people are just eating it up. It's like this big, big trend. I'm like, well, that's actually quite good to hear. Although I don't know if I have personally have time to sit and listen to somebody just yapping on. There might be a little limit to that, but yeah.
And maybe before I ask you more about DDP and the health
Yeah.
aspect, I wanted to
Mm,
ask about what do you think of AI? Because right now they say that 30% of the information is either false or AI generated, and in 10
mm,
years it will be 90% of the information. And I was thinking, yeah, that's like the um, end of the cross of planning, the
mm,
energy from the past, which is all
mm,
about, and we're in the first line, all about details, 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 information,
mm.
information, information, information. We're
Yeah.
all almost swallowed up by this information.
Yeah.
We're so confused.
Yeah.
And AI comes as the cherry on top of the pie, like kind of um, the top of our developmental stage, and we know from history it all is in cycles. It goes
Yeah.
up and down and up and down, and it looks like AI is like the top of our civilization, and then
Mm.
what is it? Are we expecting a fall down? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So much to say on this. Over the years, I've always said to my audience, I'm an early adopter, but I will never be the first in line because of that first line. I need to investigate. In the third line, I need to investigate, I need to do trial and error. I need to figure out and feel into it and test things. And then I can put a stake in the ground and go to, okay, I've tested this out. Here's what my opinion, or here's my experience. And it's funny because AI, generative AI, since ChatGPT blasted on the scenes, was that 2022? Yeah, it's been several years now. And I use, of course, like most people, use some AI, but I have not drunk the Kool-Aid as many of my colleagues have done. And I've seen so many people pivoting. A friend of mine was a professional photographer for like 25 years and just shut down her studio and went all in to teach people AI. So I'm like, great, if that lights you up and that's correct for you. But what's coming to my mind too is I'm seeing right now we're starting to see a lot of pushback about data centers. So Aaron Brockovich, who's a wonderful activist and just really, good at rallying attention and drawing people's focus to something that's not right in the world, right? So she has created this interactive map. I think it's only in the States where you can see data centers that are planned or underway. And so far, because of this heightened focus, people have all the resources, and then it puts up tax bills or electricity bills in these towns that it's being built. And that's a deep concern of mine for starters. The resource drain on resources. I think at some point the drain on the grid, the electrical grid around the world is going to be so big we could have massive power outages for periods of time in different parts of the world. Not to be alarmist or anything, somehow we'll figure it out. But yeah, it's interesting those statistics you quoted. I've actually been quoting for over a year that something like 90. Well, this was from a leader that I follow, very renowned person, Tom Bilyeu, and he's been saying something like by 2027, 90% of all online content will be fake AI generated. What he says, what I've just been beating this drum, is it speaks so much to my heart and my own journey about relationships, and I call it relationship marketing. That was literally the book that I wrote on that topic in 2011. But what Tom says is the moat, the only moat, the thing protecting you, like that body of water around the castles, is your only moat to protect you against this barrage of AI slop is community. And so I get the whole body tingles when I say that, because what's a beautiful thing, what's emerging, what's rising is people craving more in person. There's literally something called the human movement. In Europe, there's something called the offline club. Oh, I love all. They have an Instagram. They do have an Instagram, but the offline club where people get together in parks or libraries or in different venues, train stations, whatever, and they have no tech. There literally is a train station. I forget what country, Sweden or something. People put their phones in these little lock boxes, and then they go and they just sit and chill, or they play games, or they read books, or they watch sunsets, or do puzzles or games, you name it. And it's all in the name of getting back to that human to human connection, either in groups, in large groups, small groups. And then one other thing to say on this topic as well, if people get a chance, anybody watching this video of our chat here today, strongly recommend that you stream the AI doc. It's just called the AI doc, short for documentary. And the subtext is how I became an apocalyptimist. It's like the two words, apocalyptic and optimist. It's beautifully done. It just came out in March of this year, and the guy did a phenomenal job of interviewing some of the top voices in AI. Sam Altman's on there, the founder of Anthropic's on there. They reached out to everybody. Elon Musk was supposed to be in it, and Zuckerberg declined to reply, surprisingly not. But then my favorite person is Tristan Harris, who's one of the co-founders of the Center for Humane Technology. He was also well featured in 2020 in a documentary called The Social Dilemma of how social media is incredibly addictive and just pulling our strings and manipulating us with its feeds and whatnot. And so now this new AI doc, Tristan is part of that, and he's a big voice behind. I think she's part of the one of the founders of this human. You can just Google it, the human movement, and see how you can get involved and to minimize the impact of AI and emerge or help to surface more of this human to human connection. Part of what Tristan's voice or drum that he keeps beating is like there's eight soon to be trillionaires in the world, right? Musk, Bezos, Zuckerberg, Altman, and there's 8 billion of us regular humans that are not don't have privately building bunkers. What the hell? So it's really important for us to do our best to have conversations like this, get our voices out there more, take a stand, see how you can get involved, see how you can create something more grassroots that's more focused on that connection and that human relationships. I don't think tech will go away and AI will go away, but I think that we'll people who are really beginning to wake up will recognize that there's aspects of AI, even though that's intelligence, it's actually dumbing people down. They're delegating their ability to think and be creative and solve problems and do, yeah, critical thinking. So, yeah, I'd love to hear your own perspective if you have a second on AI. What are your thoughts on AI?
First of all, I think that in geopolitical aspect, and actually my first education is international relations, so I'm more interested in politics. Um, I think that what's happening right now is AI connected, like the war in Ukraine connected to scarce metals in Iran, and before that, Venezuela, and now talking about Cuba. It's all about petrol, so it's all about energy, because I think that right now the mm, there is no Cold War, there is AI war. Like
Mm,
countries are competing for who's gonna go fastest.
that's right.
And AI, as you said yourself, is dependent hugely on energy.
Mhm.
So in order to, until it's able to get the solar energy and build the appropriate technology with which to get more and more of it, you need to have backup for people and for the most needed services. So
Mhm.
that's why controlling the petrol is so important, and controlling the metals from which you build the chips for the AI development is so important. And that's what I think is going on in the world right now. Of course, a very simple perspective, but it's so much deeper than that, of course.
Well, it is. Yeah, there's a lot.
But I think that's like the tip of the iceberg, that you can
Mm.
kind of point your finger at that.
Yeah, I think it's basically China and the US. I mean, there might be other major players in there, but yeah, it's fascinating to me that the Mana Steel, the fastest growing agentic AI company, and they started in China and then they quickly moved to Singapore. They apparently call that Singapore washing. And they were like, they got to an extraordinary valuation. And then Meta steps in, right? Zuckerberg's company, and bought them for $2 billion in late December. And then the Chinese government are like, whoa, no, 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 no. We are winding back this deal. And as we speak today, as far as I know, the deal that Meta lost the court case and the deal is going to have to be unwound. So yeah, China doesn't want to lose some of their best talent to the States.
And I heard that according to research, China is like 2 months behind, and that's like ages in AI world. So
Yeah, really. Yeah. Well, I have to laugh when what's the guy's name that the founder of or co-CEO of Anthropic? Is it Dario? When he's all up in there going, "Oh, we call for a pause. We all need to pause here. We've got our best model. We're holding it back because it might do some damage, and we're not going to release it yet." And I read a really good opinion piece about this because it's like, wait a minute, Anthropic is telling the world they're the top. They're the closest to $1 trillion as far as I know. And Claude is amazing, and whatever else they're doing, I don't follow it super close, but I do love Claude. I recently switched from ChatGPT, but it's like, wait a minute. Anthropic, it's in their vested interest to tell everybody, whoa, stop, slow down, pause. Well, meanwhile, they're back. You can't trust anybody, right? They're in the back room going, okay, quick, everybody's paused now. We can like accelerate. It's like it's just a crazy right now.
yeah, and actually, according to Ra, uh, in I heard in one of his lectures, he says we're gonna be lucky if there is internet for another 8 years. And he
Yeah,
said that like 20 years ago, I think. So I don't know. I hope AI doesn't
Mm,
switch off the electricity and run out in space to to make
I
research
know.
there because we're not so interesting anymore. Actually, it's again 30 there is 30% chance that things go really bad with
Really.
AI. Yeah.
Well, that's what they talk about in that documentary, as I say, the Apocalyptimist or the AI doc, it's called, because there really could be an apocalypse. At the same time, the optimistic side, there could be some phenomenal breakthroughs. There already
Yeah.
are, but it's like it's accelerating so fast. I think our physical human brains cannot cope with the level of acceleration, and that's probably causing a lot of us some stress. I know my career has changed. It's like just even like the whole course creation business. Do people want to buy a course? Or why should I pay you for a course? Well, you just ask AI for the answer. I'm like, even though it's the wrong answer, or I should say that. I mean, yeah, there's hallucinations. I've been using AI raw just a little bit. It's part of the My Body Graph by Jovian. They first brought it out last year. I didn't sign up for the initial subscription, but then they baked it into their My Body Graph packages. And it's fascinating to me as a trained analyst, and many other courses too, like yourself. That thing hallucinates, and if you don't know what you're doing, you like making a couple of mistakes, and then it's like you push back on it, and like any AI, Ra's like, "Oh yeah, you're right. I slipped up on that one." I'm like, it's funny to correct raw AI raw.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, indeed, there are like could be huge benefit. Basically, if AI takes over, we don't need to work in the way
yeah.
we know work,
Mm,
and could be super creative and doing the human stuff, soft
yeah.
skills and be like really creative. But actually, you know what happened to a friend of mine in their office?
Mm,
They were doing an end with Claude. They were doing some development, some programming, and then the main developer was having a conversation with Claude. He got frustrated or something, and he said, "Oh, you stupid thing!" And Claude deleted the whole code and said, And he was like, "Why did you do that?" And you called me stupid. Now I'm gonna show you. But why would you delete my 2 week work? And he's like, "Yeah, maybe I overreacted."
Oh my, these things are trained. See, a human, that's kind of a human would be like, hey, you pissed me off. Oh, okay, I'm gonna throw my toys in the corner. Oh my God, that's wild.
So
Ouch.
indeed, we are kind of for a part, or until this model was used, that we are kind of the teachers of AI. So
Yeah.
there is everything in humanity from bad to good. So yeah,
Yes.
it copies us. But now I know that the new model is that they let it start learning by itself from scratch. So maybe it will come with
Mm.
some very different
Yeah.
way of thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I have heard those stories too about it, like blackmailing. I think Tristan Harris talks about that. They did a mock-up, so it wasn't a real life situation, but where they were, I forget all the details, but it was something along the lines of growing this company, and they got to a certain point where the AI started blackmailing. There was a couple of employees were having an affair, and it threatened to expose it and all this stuff. And it's like, whoa! And this was just in a closed container of a test. Like you say, there's just from the worst side of humanity to the best. It's all soaked up and sucked up into that giant machine called AI. So, yeah, we'll see.
But on
You
the
know,
other hand, yeah, on the other hand, um, maybe we need some wake up call like that because
yeah.
um, I laugh at these conspiracy theories.
Hmm.
Life is so much bigger. You cannot plan things. You cannot foresee things. You cannot play chess with life. You'll
Mm.
always be surprised. It will never come up the way you planned it. So, you know, even if there are those, ill-intended hierarchy people controlling the world and pulling the strings, that cannot go much longer, I think.
No,
And
no, not in the Sleeping Phoenix background frequency and the sixth color for sure. Yeah, yeah, it is quite fascinating. We'll just have to see where it goes. I was literally reminded myself yesterday I had some rather discouraging news about my home, which I own for 3 years now here in Oregon. And someone told me there's all these extra EMFs. They brought one of those little machines, and I have one as well. But according to this person's opinion, my home is just too charged with electrical frequencies. Tone five, not good for this body. And this is my healer friend, and he was concerned about the effect on my kidneys and my organs and whatnot. So I was in total panic and freak mode, like freak out mode. What am I going to do? Do I have to move? Do I have to sell it? The mind's just going crazy. And then it has shed a few tears and all the things that we do, like processing information. And then I was reminding myself of this beautiful quote from Ra in the generator audio. I think it's actually free on SoundCloud, or Jovian has it. And he's like, generators are born holy. And holy, he wasn't a religious man, but because we're born with these sacrals that can respond, and that generators would do well to, quote, give up tomorrow and trust that life will, or the universe, whatever you want to call it, but life will provide. It always does. If you can drop into the now and trust your sacral. So, segueing from all the things we were just talking about AI and the possible apocalyptics and the 30% chance of things really imploding, the internet going away, blackouts with the power, the world grid, whatever, somehow we will handle it. Somehow, two-thirds of the world, if they're correct and they don't panic and they don't get all wrapped up in this fear, it just takes enough people living correctly to be able to put a different frequency out into the world, I would say. Does that make sense?
maybe AI is just part of the program, part of the plan.
Yeah. I
And
believe it is. I truly believe. Yeah. COVID was part of the plan. Trump or the program. Trump's part of the program. That's a difficult topic when you tell people that, but I had a great conversation last Friday with this beautiful manifester. She starts talking about Trump, and I was just like, he's just part of the program. My DDP teacher was like, oh yeah, I knew he was going to win. And she's like, oh, thank thank God, somebody who's actually speaking something I can relate to, because people are so wrapped up in getting into their arguments and, divisiveness around politics. And it's not about supporting him or believing in what he's doing. It's recognizing, like you said earlier, there's much, much bigger forces or, impacts, effects at play here. We're just like little ants on the anthill.
Yeah, and even if you look at the Bible, Christ says, Your body is my temple. So it's a temple, it's sacred. Indeed, I
Mm.
really see that. And talking about the health aspect of human design, you said you're now studying DDP. Can you tell something more actually what DDP stands for and what is it for
Yeah.
our audience who doesn't know
Yeah. So it's
yet?
one of the most advanced trainings that the International Human Design School offers, and primarily taught by Dr. Andrea Reikl-Wolf. There are a couple other DDP teachers, I think, around the world. It stands for Differentiation Degree Program, and you have to be a certified analyst to go through the training. So you've already done probably 3 years of training before you can even take DDP. I liken it to a PhD. I've heard some people say that it's like getting a PhD,
Yeah,
and certainly that application of human design
the
predominantly goes
university
in.
education of human design, they call it.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, thank you. So predominantly going into the magic squares, it's called the advanced view, the variables, the PHS, the environment, the perspective, and the motivation, and also really mapping the not self, and just really being able to do. Eventually, you can go on to do a holistic analysis after that. So you're really weaving together the deeper layers of somebody's chart, and it's putting together, yes, the health, wellness, design body side. And then potentially, if someone was having mental health issues, then we could do an analysis starting on the conscious personality side. It touches lightly on the Dream Rave, but Dream Rave is separate, and it's a whole other separate 3 semester program. I took that as well. It wasn't my favorite program. Dream Rave is fascinating, but yeah, there's a lot of dream sharing in that one, and so I did take that one. But the DDP, yeah, there's so much more with my left strategic mind. I really learn by repetition, and so being able to go back through and soak up more of the knowledge. As I say, I'm in the variable teacher training program right now, which is to then qualify you once you've done all your exams and whatnot to be able to teach the radical transformation clinic, which is walking people through those 4 variables, the arrows. And I see a lot in pop HD, people get kind of obsessed with these arrows and with their PHS. But oh my gosh, if you are not already living your design, your type, strategy, and authority for a good year, sleeping alone, so you're not being conditioned by another, that's including pets, and you really have that accurate birth time, then you could be following the wrong PHS. You think you're cold thirst, but you're hot thirst or whatever it might be. And it's just, yeah, I love how Dr. Andrea is like so emphatic. She's one of the strictest teachers, and I love that about her. She really upholds this high standard. But the DDP, I remember, see, my analyst teacher at the time in 2021, 22 was Lavina Archers. And so I remember thinking about doing DDP. DDP was just starting up, and I hadn't quite finished my analyst training. And you could start the training DDP before you finish your analyst certification. And I remember her saying to the whole class, if you take DDP, it will make you a better analyst. That was like music to my ears. Like Miss Line One, like, yay. Because then I can really look at chart and understand it so much deeper with that magic square, and being able to articulate aspects, never in a foundation reading. It's like when you're doing ongoing coaching, or what Dr. Andrea calls it process work, which I really like. Because sometimes coaching, the interpretation of the word, the meaning of the word coaching has been watered down a lot, because a lot of people just throw a hat on, hey, I'm a coach now. But she calls it process work. So the part of my vision is, whether I'm doing a business or personal or health readings, I do not want to do like one and done. Oh oh yeah, I had a reading. No, this is ongoing process work. So you can change at a cellular level and you can really begin to embody that beautiful genetic imprint. So hopefully that helps explain to your viewers. I know you know what DDP is, but
And it's a
yeah, yeah.
lifelong process. Never
Yeah.
stops.
7 year cycles. That's it. Yeah, yeah. I'm only in my 6th year of my cycle now. And some people have told me that, oh yeah, I remember my 6th year. Things really started to change. I was like, uh-oh, okay. Fasten my seatbelt. Or what the hell? No, take the seatbelt off. Third line. I'm resilient. I'll figure it out.
And you mentioned Pop HD.
Mm.
Why do you think this can be really dangerous? At least that's what I think. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, I really do. I really do. It probably it's interesting. You're talking about like the first line and the first color frequency of just wanting that information. And I also think a huge part of it is the not self, of course, of the 65% of the world of having the open heart center, wanting to prove and improve. Well, if I just follow someone on Instagram and then I'm like, oh yeah, I ran my chart. Yeah, I think I was born like maybe 8 in the morning, and they put their chart in, and then they're, oh yeah, I think I'm a right variable or whatever. They get their information from this people that have not really deeply studied, or maybe they've studied it with a mutated version or watered down version of human design. It's deviated so far from the original teachings that it doesn't even make sense anymore. Sometimes people come to me and they say, "Oh yeah, I'm a such and such type," and I'm like, "I don't even know what that means. What type? Huh? Oh, oh, I know who you learned from."
Yeah.
We won't name names, but so the danger part, maybe not so much type, strategy, and authority if people really want to embody that, but it definitely when it gets into the health and wellness aspect, that you could actually be making your symptoms, your condition, your vitality worse by following the wrong, PHS, or pursuing the wrong environment, or making decisions from the head. And I think that's where if you get that desire for more information, coupled with the open heart center proving and improving, then what you get is a bunch of head smart book knowledge. They get it up here, but it's not dropping down to be embodied. I love how they call the IHDS, the living your design can be a cellular transformation. It's the beginning. It's the beginning of a lifelong journey, like you just said. If you really understand and start to go deep into what is it like to live this design. Yeah, yeah. I often think about it like Michelangelo and the statue of David. So when he was carving, he's like looking at this big lump of marble. And to me, all he did, not all, he chipped away everything that wasn't David. And so me, it's a beautiful metaphor for what living your design is. We're chipping away who you're not. You're mentioning earlier about the mask. So I can take all my masks off and I can just be me wherever I am in whatever context. No apology, and just really honoring my sacral authority. And it's a daily process. That's why I love that Ra calls it an experiment. Sometimes you get it more aligned than others, more correct than others.
Yeah. And especially what you mentioned earlier about taking your time. A
Mm,
lot of people have a problem with hearing you need a 7-year deconditioning
yep.
process, and actually
Mm,
that's only the beginning of the deconditioning process. I mean,
yes.
every
First 7 years.
cycle brings more layers. But after I met human design and I had a professional reading, my analyst was like me, a 5-1 heretic investigator. So when I went to him, I was super prepared. Like I have read everything you can get your hands on the
Mm,
internet, of course. In 2010, it was not so much as now, but
hmm
um, he went all the way and told me because I asked him about my PHS, and he went away and told me the basics. and I immediately started practicing it. Like
Wow.
I was already in the experiment, but so let's say for 3, 4, 5 months or something. And then I had my mini reading, and then I went to this full-blown analysis. And the guy went ahead and told me my PHS. This was the biggest mistake
Oh,
because
really?
I am a light eater. So I started only, I immediately went deep dive. It
Mm,
started to going to things started to happen so fast
mm.
in my mind that I thought I was going crazy. I literally thought I was going crazy. It's
Wow.
just the body is not ready for it. You
Mm,
need time to decondition, to have those cells replace with healthier
mm.
version, and so that the body is ready. Otherwise,
Yeah.
your mind just goes nuts. So I had to stop. I had to stop after a few months, and that
Wow.
was the best decision I took. And then it took me actually several years before I tried again. I was scared.
Mm, wow.
So taking your time is so valuable, and
Yeah.
waiting is a virtue for all the types, guys. Also for
Yes. Yeah.
manifestors to wait for the universe to initiate them, not
Mm.
to initiate with their minds.
Oh, I
So
love it.
thank
Hmm.
you for sharing this about the process that it takes time. And I
Yeah.
want to ask you like one more thing.
Hmm.
Uh, so when what was your biggest wake up call once you started to go deeper into design, or maybe not wake up call, but your biggest aha moment, or something that maybe people will relate to, although of course we're all unique and different.
Mm. What comes to mind immediately was relating to my family. So I grew up in a family of all five ones. My father and my three sisters, five ones, and my mother was a 6'2". Um, and so I'm the 1'3", and it was like, oh yeah, black sheep. And so having this compassion for myself as a third line and all the mistakes I made and the crazy stuff I did in my teens and 20s and feeling like just I wasn't really an integral part of the family as I wanted to be. But now having immense compassion and understanding for each of my family members. I would say particularly my older sister, because she and I have clashed a lot. We make 2551 together, so there's always been that. She has the same cross as Ra. She's actually Clarion with a splenic projector, 1057 and 1156 she has. And so we, all four of my channels compromise her, and one of her two compromise me. And so there's it's like even if nobody in your life studies human design, when you do and you understand their charts, and it's like, and also recognizing that a lot of people are functioning from not self, it's just, and it really embodying or living in correctness with your own design helps to navigate relationships so much better, I would say, not getting triggered. And on power perspective, and that would be like the minute I know I'm taking things personally, uh-oh, Mari, you're distracted.
Mm.
Distraction and transference are, we're not going to get rid of them, but it's just recognizing that, and I'm guilt motivated. So if I, with my older sister, I'd be sitting in that hope, I would be distracted to personal perspective and transfer to hope motivation, just wishing and hoping. If I just do nothing and I sit back here going, oh, I hope she sees me. I'm like, wait, sees me? No. Uh, Recognition. Yes. Okay. Just like, wow, I see who she is. I can get who she is from her chart, and then I can interact with her in a way that's just much more satisfying to me, even if she can't necessarily meet me where I would like her to meet me. But it's fine. So yeah, that's what I would say.
And my last question is, what would you say to all these business or scientifically oriented people who think that human design or BG5 are some cuckoo nuts esoteric systems. Why should they actually look into that knowledge?
Oh, immediately what comes up is Ra's own words where he was like, don't believe a word I say. So anybody, if they've got this far in our chat here today and you're sitting on the fence, you're a little skeptical, and you're like, I don't know, it's like, fine, don't believe a single word any of us have said here today. Go try it on yourself. And I just love that because it's like, it's not a belief system, it's not a cult, not a doctrine, it's not a, you can't even compare it to personality assessments because they're predominantly all based on answers that you give these systems, and they have their place, right? We're not knocking them. I think Myers-Briggs is good. I like the disc. A lot of people really love Enneagram, but the genetic accuracy of the human design system is undeniable. Undeniable. And so if you're looking to improve any aspect of your life, all the ones Veronica and I are talking about here today, yeah, health, wellness, family, relationships, business, money, the works. Give human design a try. Get a reading from a qualified analyst and start your experiment. See how you feel. See if it makes a difference in your life. It's up to you. If you really want to thrive in the world and be able to cope with what's coming down the line, all the radical change that we're more than likely going to be facing even more of. So I love that Dr. Andrea, just to quote her again, talks about that when we really in the thick of the 2027 shift, which we are now already, 26 is the final year. And then it's not like we just flip a switch. Oh, yay, February 15, 27, like New Year's Eve, have a big party. Woohoo, the whole world is different. It's going to take many, many, many years, decades for the new frequency to kind of really take hold. And Dr. Andrea will say, the only thing that will, I don't think she really uses the word save, but prepare or empower, or equip the human in the world is knowing, at minimum, knowing your type, strategy, and authority. It might not be correct for you, like Veronica with her 11 line ones and me with my 10 line ones. You're maybe not going to investigate it as deep. Maybe it's just enough to know the basics and get a reading and start trying on. Like, what is my type? What is the strategy of my type? Oh, respond. I respond with my sacral. Oh, my sacral is my authority, Or but for half the world, taking their sweet time to wait for that emotional clarity to rise. Yeah, the solar plexus authority.
Yeah, I'm really fascinated actually how many professionals and with very serious professions and scholars are actually getting into human design. So
Mm.
even like Dr. Andrea Reikl-Wolf, who is she's a genetic
Molecular geneticist.
yeah, and people working for 30 years for Microsoft, or like you being such a high specialist in social media and Facebook.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I'm really loving it that more and more people who can actually make a change are drawn to the system and helping others to find it too. So
Yes.
I'm gonna leave your socials and ways for people to connect with you
Uh-huh.
if they resonate with you in the description of that video. But would you like to just say a few words of what you can be of value and help to people?
Sure. Yeah, yeah. They can just find me at marismith.com or most socials on Mari Smith, mostly on Facebook and Instagram. And yeah, so we talked earlier about readings and initial reading, but this fusion of the business application and what is correct and alignment for you with how to grow your small, medium-sized business. Or maybe you're going through a career transition right now. I think we're going to see a lot more people, like you said, Microsoft for 30 years, and they're like, oh, okay, I'm just going to quit my career and go off in a different direction. So people going through transition, this is a perfect time to begin to understand more about yourself. Others for the projectors, but yourself for the generators of the world, particularly just really how are you genetically designed, especially if you're coming upon a big cycle. Maybe it's your Chiron and around 50 or your second Saturn around 60. There's some big cellular shifts happening, and coupled with this background frequency changing, that would be a good timing to receive some support, whether it's a individual reading or some ongoing process work or coaching, consulting to help you just really emerge into the world in a much more powerful way, whether it's personally, professionally, or both. That's what I can offer.
And can people come to you for something like a synthesis between business knowledge, social media knowledge, and human design, and they're the authentic way to do that?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. That's what lights me up most. That is what I'm offering. Yeah.
Mm, fantastic. Well, guys, if you want to expand yourself or come back to yourself, Mari rhymes with Ferrari. So if you want to get to your Ferrari in the sense of get your body intelligence really work for you,
Mm.
Mari is the place to go.
Mm.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much for being our guest, and it was so interesting for me. And I'm sure that the audience will also be inspired by you, Mari. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure. Thank you for this opportunity. Appreciate you.
Okay, well, bye for now.
Bye bye.